The Justice Department has thanked the public for largely supporting South Africa's genocidal intent case against Israel over its bombardment of Gaza at the International Court of Justice last week. Now, that's as the lawyers who were part of that case returned to the country yesterday, where they received a hero's welcome at Johannesburg's Tambo International Airport. Advocates John Dugard, Tembeka Ngcukaitobi, Plessis and Adila Hassim are among the senior counsels in that case, where South Africa is accusing Israel of violating the Genocide Convention. Let's speak more about this. Bring in the Director General of the Justice and Correctional Services Department, that's Advocate Dr. Mashabane, who joins us now via our video link. And it's great to see you, Advocate Mashabane. Thanks very much indeed for making time. And perhaps I should start by saying I'm more relieved that you're awake this morning, given just how exhausting, let's say, the journey in the past couple of weeks has been. And I wonder if you can just take us through some of the things that you had to contend with in putting together what is being described by and large as a formidable team that South Africa had in The Hague.
Good morning, Ayanda, and good morning to your viewers. Indeed, but look, we are up. It was very cold in Netherlands, in The Hague. As you know, it's winter now, but we are back. We've been here for 24 hours. So we have to adjust and get back to work. And indeed, as we have mentioned previously, we had a very formidable team, and work had to be done during the festive season. I think immediately after Christmas, we had to get back these South Africans from their holidays to get back to work, to start preparing themselves once we got a confirmation from the court as well that the date had been given, so everyone had to come back to work. And we're grateful that they agreed, they left their families as patriots to come and prepare themselves for this case. As you will know, I mean, the 2 weeks that was given to prepare, not even 2 weeks, I can say less than 10 days after the notification by the registrar that our matter will be heard on the 11th. But they've done an excellent job within such a short space of time, and that's why we are very grateful and confident that whatever that was presented was not things that were just done in a haste, but there was a lot of work that went into it. People worked across the globe.
Yeah, you know, the legal minds who are watching here at home and further afield have mentioned how much of a coherence there was as one lawyer after the other argued a different aspect of South Africa's case in the International Court of Justice. What do you know, Advocate Mashabane, about the kind of preparation that went into putting together the kind of coherence that was displayed at the ICJ? You know, typically lawyers, in some instances, work in isolation. But yeah, there was a really solid golden thread that ran through the argument that was being made, as you've mentioned, in a very short space of time.
I guess, Ayanda, look, you are dealing with senior people here, people who have been in practice, put together more than 100 years of experience of practice, of all of those lawyers put together. And you mentioned them as well. Come to think about Professor Dugard, who has been practicing international law for more than 4 decades, and the rest of the other lawyers as well. They are hardworking. They are very known here at home. Adila Hassim, SC, Ngcukaitobi, SC, Max Plessis, SC, here from home, who practice here at home and work very hard. Everyone knows about them. But also then the international part that we had, we had Bline Casey and Von Casey, who are also, international heavyweights themselves. But secondly, my view and my observation was that the nature of the case itself motivated, these heavyweight jurists to want to go for it. So even that seamlessness that you have seen, you could actually easily think that they have been together for months, when in fact they have not been together for months. They have met not more than 10 times in preparation of this case. But the nature, I think, of the case was a motivation in itself, that the moment they allocated the specific subjects that they had to deal with, there was no need for any of them to be motivated. And the case itself, as you will have seen, that coherence, it was just natural that it had to come out that way.
Sure. In fact, you mentioned yesterday that because of the nature of this case and their willingness to participate, there wasn't really a back and forth between yourselves and these lawyers about the fees that they'd be charging the state.
No, look, there wasn't, and the main point for them was that this is not, it's work, but it's not about money, it's about humanity. So whatever it is, finalize what we have to do. It's not going to be about whether you pay us or not, but this is a type of a case that we want to stand up for. I mean, if you get lawyers to get to that point and have that understanding, you can imagine traveling from here within a short space of time during this season to The Hague, many things, logistics, hotels. There were just many things that if we were doing them in a normal course of events, we would have done them differently. But there was never any complaint from each one of them. It was just that feeling of being patriotic, wanting to do this for the country and also wanting to do it for humanity. I mean, just that feeling that they wanted to make a contribution the best way they can, for the people of Palestine and for the people of Gaza, the women, children, the unarmed civilians who are subjected to these carnages that we are seeing on a daily basis.
Yeah, and certainly, hopefully, it's been all worth our while. But, already there's been people who say no matter how things unfold, right, because we're still yet to hear from the court around their decision here, an important step has been taken. In fact, Advocate Tembeka Ngcukaitobi describing what happened in The Hague as just one episode in a much broader kind of struggle for the plight of Palestinians. And I wonder what your posture towards that actually is, right? Because after Israel had given their response the following day, there certainly was a feeling that, in fact, it's not clear how the ICJ will go, despite how proud we may be of how our lawyers performed.
Look, Ayanda, this is an international court of justice. It can't get higher than that. This is the highest court in the world. And I just wish I could go back and be an international law student. The point remains that history will remain with this case. Posterity and future students are going to learn about how South Africa put together a formidable, solid and robust case and presented it before this world court. Here's the point. We can't preempt, we can't prejudge what the outcome is going to be. But insofar as international law is concerned, general principles of international law are concerned, the facts, as they are in Gaza now, the case is very strong. We leave it to the capable hands, as I've said previously, of the 17 judges. We are aware that an international court of justice is not the same as the domestic court, which focuses mainly on the law and the facts. There are many other things that will be taken into account. But our point remains this, that, look, as a country, I think we have demonstrated to the world our commitment to international rule of law. That is for everyone, not selective, not for one state or the other, but all the states have to respect international rule of law. And that we don't think it will be right or it will be a travesty of justice if anything else, some form of procedural technicality will be what finally determines the outcome. Because in terms of the law, you can see across the globe, from the north and to the south, law schools, professors and lawyers, there's a debate. And in the main, that debate you can see weighs heavily in favor of the South African case. However, we know that the courts, the judges will debate, convince each other, and come to a majority. So yes. The issue is going to be the number of the judges that believe in what we have said, and whether then they are able to come and agree and say South Africa has made a case. And let's remember, this was a provisional stage. The main merit of the case will still have to be argued over a long period of time, to close to a year. But I think this is the critical part, because indication of provisional measures is critical for humanity, it's critical for saving lives, it's critical for allowing humanitarian aid to come in and so on and so forth.
Yeah. Look, Advocate Mashabane, I appreciate your need to perhaps be a bit discreet and circumspect in your commentary, but I can hear you gesturing towards a concern you might have without necessarily saying it. So let me ask the question explicitly. Are you worried that political persuasions in some ways, may enter the fray and influence how the judges vote on this, as opposed to, let's call it just the strength of the arguments that were presented?
Not at all. In fact, we are upbeat, and part of the reason why we are upbeat and positive is because of the case that we have presented and looking at the case law of the court itself and other cases of similar nature. That, even those who disagree with us, they do admit that the case that we presented was not rebutted. There was an attempt to rebut it, but it wasn't done sufficiently. So if you look at the scales of justice, I think our case, the owners, we discharged it, and there was not a reversal of that. Now, look, the judges are professionals themselves. Many of them, many years of practice of international law as professors and as lawyers and so on and so forth. And they've taken an oath of office. We trust them. All we're just saying is that, as you can see, I mean, that's the biggest bench you can have, 17 judges. Here at home, Constitutional Court is 11 judges. So we're saying, I was just making the point, not that we think there will be other issues and so on and so forth. They are professionals. They will apply themselves to the case. But you come down to numbers and say, in terms of the majority, in terms of the minority. So the majority view is the one that is that's going to prevail. We are not worried. I think our case was watertight in every respect. It's only that you can't preempt and say, we will win this case, or there will be a ruling in our favor. But on the basis of what we have presented, and also you can see Ayanda from all over the world, analysts and everyone, I mean professors of international law and so on and so forth. If you look at it, there are few of them who can show loopholes in our case, and not because of sentiments. People who are, objective, looking at the law and the facts. There's a general strong feeling that there isn't anything that we should be worried about it. Whatever the outcome will not be because of weaknesses in our case. It will be out of anything else. It's a court. We can expect the outcome to go either way. But as far as we're concerned, there's no way we're looking back and feel like we should have done better here. I mean, that team of lawyers, they can take any matter in the world any day.
Sure, fair enough. Briefly, Advocate Mashabane, if you can, you've rightly mentioned that what we've seen last week was just about an aspect of what could be a very protracted legal battle, right? And I wonder to what extent South Africa is willing to go the whole way, given two things. One, the makeup of our government may very much be different, or very well be different after the elections. But more importantly, there are costs to this, right? To what extent is South Africa willing to be as invested given those considerations?
Look, I don't see how we can go back now. We have launched this case. It's in the court. After this provisional stage, the court will have to make a determination and schedule the matter over a number of hearings. And we have to get back there. You will have seen there are a number of countries, starting with the Organization of Islamic Conference, which is made up of 57 states, and other states from the global south in the main way have expressed, and other states are under pressure as well to join us. So once this stage passes, there will be a discussion about the role of the rest of the other states who are coming in as well. So because the moment they express the support, it's no longer South Africa alone who will lead, but there will be other states as well who will want to bring different information. It could be experts, military experts, and all manner of experts that will be interested, because they are not just expressing a support for the sake of it, but it will mean that when we get to the long stage of the case, they will come in as well and provide this information as parties themselves to the case. So I don't foresee, because this is not about politics, whether we have a change of government or whatever makeup or configuration of government. This decision was not taken out of some sacking. We had, as bureaucrats, done a serious work in terms of preparing and making recommendations, and this is a decision of cabinet. So any change of posture on this will have to follow a number of processes, and also bearing in mind that the matter now is in the court, and it's not on behalf of an individual, but is the entire country. Of course, people have to take a decision to say this is what we have seen, And if you look at the overwhelming support from all over, I mean, think about the march in Washington, D.C. Many people there saying, there's this case that South Africa has brought, and we think South Africa should be supported. So the support goes beyond governments, and it involves citizens of different stages. And I think the point is that if you, anywhere, at least the past 48 hours, the debate all over the world on the question of Palestine is around the South African case. So the Palestinian struggle itself has been brought, right to the center because of the case that South Africa has brought, and I think that's significant.
Yeah, absolutely. Look, no matter how you view what's taking place in the Middle East, history was made this past week. Dr. Mashabane, thanks very much indeed for speaking to us. Really do appreciate your time. Advocate Dr. Mashabane is the Director General in the Justice and Correctional Services Department.